One other issue that actually isn't being picked up enough in the rest of the media is, of course, COVID. Now, there have been some people who've called COVID correctly and some people who've got their predictions disastrously wrong. One person who was less than accurate at the start of the summer was the Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Lifting all restrictions in one go is reckless. And doing so when the Johnson variant is clearly out of control risks a summer of chaos. We're heading now for an NHS summer crisis. We will always support jobs and livelihoods, but Johnson's recklessness risks plunging us back into restrictions again. This will not be Freedom Day for the 100,000 people per day catching COVID and the millions more being asked to isolate. The government has once again lost control of the virus and lost public trust in its messaging. They need to think again on their reckless plan before it's too late.
Sir Keir Starmer there on the 19th of July this summer, ahead of Freedom Day, predicting a summer NHS crisis and 100,000 COVID cases a day. Well, what actually happened? Here is a graph showing the case numbers, and almost as soon as Keir Starmer published those words, cases began to fall off a cliff. Indeed, cases have never reached 100,000 a day. Even the most recent little rise was not as high as that rise that was going on at the beginning of July. Cases have now been falling for more than 2 weeks, not getting anywhere close to 100,000, heading down to 30,000 a day. Well, it's not just Keir Starmer that's been confused with COVID. Last week, Sky News reported a new React-1 study, trying to suggest that this study showed that the prevalence of COVID, that the number of new cases was the highest it had ever been. This was their headline. Sky News said that infections at highest ever recorded level, referring, of course, to that React-1 study. Well, let's look at the actual study. Let's look at what the actual study showed. On page 20 of the study, no less, it shows the peak came around the 20th of October, that cases had been falling since then. Cases had been falling since the 20th of October, the precise opposite to the impression that was given by that Sky News article. In fact, it's worth dwelling on what cases have been doing for over 2 weeks now in all age categories. The mathematician James Ward has produced some really useful case ratio graphs where we can see the weekly case ratio, or see if cases are rising or if they're falling. We can track patterns and how fast cases are rising or falling. And here we can see every age group is seeing falls. Every age group is below that line, seeing those cases fall down. In this next graph, we can see that older age groups having the biggest falls. The boosters are clearly working. All of those falls down and down and down. At the middle age groups, we can see negative growth as well. And even in the youngest, we're seeing the same direction. It's only the 0 to 4-year-old age category that's slightly above that line, but it's heading down to, no doubt, will very soon be seeing negative growth as well. Well, that is the real picture. I do wish that more organisations would report it when cases go down as well as when they go up.